Alright, Psalms chapter 52 as we continue our journey. And people look at this thing and say, preacher, we'll be out here in 20 minutes. You got 2 points. Other people say he can take 1 sentence and preach 3 hours. Alright? Anybody need an outline? Don't have one? Jill needs one. He was out back. Annabelle needs one. She was in the meeting. Debbie needs one. She's over here to the left. Anybody else? Clyde needs one of the hip bag. He was busy talking to Jack. Alright. Anybody else? And for the rest of you, if you'll go ahead and turn to Psalms chapter 52, as we, actually this psalm only has 9 verses. It is kind of condensed. I know spring break, a lot of you are ready to go home and stretch out your legs and change clothes as I am. And had a funeral today. I preached for a man that used to be my boss man, probably 25 years ago. And a great man, great family. And I was able to speak today on his behalf and for his family. And just enjoy the delight, even in those circumstances, to be around those folks. And so it's been a long day, but it's been a good day. And is that it? I'll see Brother Jack head that way. Everybody got one? All right, we're good to go. In Psalm chapter 52, as we look tonight at David's confident prayer of God's mercy and God's giving thanks for the situation at hand. And tonight, as one of the children in church tonight looked at the outline and said, preacher, what is a dough egg? And you see that in your outline. And you can pronounce it Doeg or Doeg, but it's the Edomite that we read about in the Old Testament that was really a thorn in the side of David. Now, if you were here last Sunday night, you remember the conversation we were preaching through the book of Psalms chapter 51. Now remember, David had cried out. He had basically said, Lord, restore unto me the joy of thy salvation. And then David made a comment. He said, Lord, do not remove your spirit from me. Now, a lot of us say, well, preacher, why we say that? Because the Holy Spirit New Testament and Holy Spirit Old Testament have a different function, and that's true. In the New Testament, we know the Holy Spirit dwells inside of us. We are the temple of God himself. And in the Old Testament, the Holy Spirit would visit, accomplish its task, and then it would go away. But now you got to remember why David said that, okay? David had just watched a man who was the king of Israel. And David had just watched a man named Saul who did some amazing things for the kingdom and the nation of Israel. But David also witnessed Saul almost lose his mind when God removed his hand from him. And so when David said, remove not your spirit from me, what he was saying was, God, I don't want to end up like Saul. I don't want you to take your hand off of me. I don't want you to take your spirit off of me. And I don't want to have a mental breakdown and lose my mind and get to a point of absolutely being a man who is surviving and existing, but he's not enjoying life. And then directly in the next psalm, in Psalms 52, David begins to talk about another man who was kind of a friend of Saul, if you will. And this man, from the day David met this man, David knew this man was going to be trouble. And David takes 9 verses tonight to talk about this Edomite that was really and truly kind of a thorn in his side. Now, before I get into Psalm chapter 52, you've got to understand where this came from, because if you don't understand where this came from, you will absolutely leave here tonight saying, I don't understand what this is all about. But back in the Old Testament book of Samuel, 2 Samuel chapter 21, as a matter of fact, David, if you remember, David was in a hurry, and he was basically fleeing for his life. And when he left without any food, and he left without any weapons laying off. And when David came into the priest, into the land, he said, listen, I'm in a hurry, I ain't got no weapons, got nothing to eat. And so these priests basically took David in, and they said, David, listen, we don't have any common bread here. Now listen, and common bread meant we don't have any bread that the common man can eat. But we do have the showbread that was untouchable for common man. Really and truly. And the priest said, David, if you can guarantee me that all of these men are ceremonial clean and not unclean, I'll let you have it. The rest is history. Matter of fact, Jesus talked about it in the New Testament. That did he not allow it. And so Doeg witnessed this whole event. Like the Bible said he was there. And he seen these priests begin to give David weapons. And these priests began to give David food. Well, it wasn't long after that, Doeg found himself in the midst of Saul's camp. And he said, Saul, I'm going to tell you who's helping David. Them priests down yonder are. Matter of fact, down there in the city of Nob, that's where it's all going on. The Bible says, now listen, this is where it gets gruesome. Saul goes into the city, and he basically commands his men to assassinate all of them. And none of them would. They said, there ain't no way, Saul, I know that you might not like these men, but I am not going to murder no priest. And Doeg said, I'll do it. And the Bible said he killed them all. So, fast forward to Psalms 52. In this chapter, this is the situation David's talking about. He's going to talk tonight about a man named Doeg the Edomite who basically assassinated a bunch of priests because Saul couldn't find anybody else to do it. And then here's the thing about him. He bragged about it. He bragged about what he had accomplished. And so David is going to take this man tonight and take 9 verses and talk about what he's done, the consequences of it, and then he's going to talk about where he's headed. And so I want you to remember all that took place in Nob as we make this journey tonight, or you're going to completely miss the point of what he's talking about. The introduction outline. There was a man on Saul's payroll by the name of Doeg. Excuse me. There was a man on Saul's payroll by the name of Doeg. Any hatred that Saul had for David was intensified in the heart of Doeg. Any hatred by Saul for David was intensified in the heart of Doeg. His loyalty was always in question because nobody could trust Doeg. His loyalty was always in question, so he had to appear more loyal than Saul's own sons. He was a dangerous and ungodly man. He was a dangerous and an ungodly man. And so Saul is angry at what the priest had done. Doeg kind of rises almost like he was going to be a hero out of nowhere and thinking that he's going to get blessings galore. But what he did not realize was he had signed his own death warrant. Number 1, the wickedness of Doeg. The wickedness of Doeg. Number 1, what he did. The first bullet on number 1, he paraded triumph. He paraded triumph. Now, in verse number 1, you got to remember, David is right about this man and what he accomplished. In verse number 1, here's what he said. He said, why do you boast yourself in mischief, O mighty man? The goodness of God endureth continually. Now, in that statement, why boasteth in mischief, here's what Doeg was basically going around telling everybody what he had accomplished. He was trying to make himself look like a superhero. But let me remind you of something. Priests in the Old Testament had no experience in war. That's not what they were set aside for. I mean, here's a man named Doeg who went and murdered a bunch of men who could not even defend themselves. It's almost like he killed an animal tied to a tree. And so David is saying, why are you going around boasting about what you've done? Because really and truly, you murdered people who couldn't even defend themselves. You ever been around people who gloat about things that ain't even worth talking about? And David's mindset here was, you went and killed a bunch of people for no other reason than helping the man of God. And by the way, they weren't experts at war. They weren't experts with a sword. They weren't experts at fighting. They were nothing but men who were serving the Lord. What have you got to brag about, Doeg? But verse 1 ends completely odd. Watch what he says. The goodness of God endureth continually. You say, what does that mean? You know what David's saying? This is his reality. He said, you have no right to boast about anything you've done. But Doeg, I want to remind you of something. You're still alive today because God is merciful. Can I be honest with y'all? I got saved when I was 28, but God should have killed me a long time ago. Would y'all agree? And so David's plea here is he done something ungodly, he done something wicked, had no business talking about it, but for some reason, God allows him to still be alive. And then the second bullet, his poison tongue. His paraded triumph. Number 2, his poison tongue. Verse number 2, thy tongue deceiveth, or the tongue deceiveth mischiefs, like a sharp razor that is working deceitfully. Doeg was a man that used his tongue to accomplish and say whatever he thought necessary to make him look good. Y'all ever been around people and let me reword this, all right? Y'all ever been around people that regardless of the conversation, they're going to always make themselves look better than somebody else? And sometimes I just want to look at them and say, you ever been to the moon? And see what their answer is? All right? Because you would think they've got to be an astronaut with the greatest thing they've done. That's kind of what Doeg is. He's a man in the end of verse 2 like a sharp razor. Now here's, David knew from the first time he seen Doeg laying up, he was around a crowd of people outside the tabernacle. And David knew the first time he saw that man, he was going to be trouble. Now, before we throw razor blades at Doeg, can I just stop for a minute and say this? There's a statement in the Bible that's very frightening that we don't like to talk about, but we're going to have to talk about because one day we're going to have to admit it. The Bible says that we will give an account of every idle word. Come on. That word idle means unthought. Think about how many times we say something and don't even think twice about it. But when we stand before God, it's going to all be brought back out. There's a lot of things I've done that I know about that I'm thinking, man, when I got an answer for that. But what's even more overwhelming is the things that God's going to bring to my memory that I don't even realize yet. Because let's be honest about it, church, we probably got more to answer for about what we've said than what we've done. Would y'all agree? So if I can be a little bit honest tonight, all of us have got a little bit of Doeg inside of us. We really do. I mean, Doeg, yeah, he was a murderer of innocent people, absolutely. But even more than that, a lot of his problems is mine. A lot of his problems is talk. He said Doeg was a man, when you get right down to it, he was a lot like you and I. And then bullet number 3, his perverted temperament. His perverted temperament, verse 3 and 4. Thou lovest evil more than good, and lying rather than to speak righteousness. Then he says Salah. What do you think about that? Basically what he did, just keep him in the teeth. Verse 4. Thou lovest all devouring words, O thou deceitful tongue. If you want to write this down, you can. That word lovest right there in verse 3, if you look it up in the root meaning, it means you have a devouring taste to be a part of things. It's almost like, if I can give you a picture, it's almost like, Brother John, when a dog or a shark gets a taste of blood, you can't get it out of it. You're hungry for it. It's almost like a devouring taste for something. So in verse number 3, basically what he's saying is, you have a devouring taste for evil more than good. Watch the rest of that verse. And lying rather than to speak righteousness. Now, I got to be honest with y'all about something, all right? I would rather a man slap me than lie to me. It's useless. There's no need for it. Matter of fact, I ain't calling no names. My wife knows very well. There's a man that we've been in a conversation with for about 5 years now, and he's dishonest, completely teetotal. And it wasn't but about 3-4 months ago, I just looked him in the face and I said, to be honest with you, you're a man of no integrity. There's no need for lying. It's useless. Because I'm going to tell you something, when you show the world that you have no character, you take away something you can't rebuild. That's why the Bible says in Proverbs chapter 22, verse 1, the Bible says a good name is to be chosen rather than riches. Your character is a portrayal of your name, and when you destroy your name, you can't get it back. And Doeg was a man, he didn't care about his character, he didn't care about integrity, he didn't care about witness. As a matter of fact, he didn't care about doing. You talk about a man that was consumed in evil, that was Doeg. Sounds a lot like America, don't it? I mean, there's no, listen, your reputation is what people think you are, but your character is what God knows you are. And there is a complete, stark difference in those two. And that's why he ends, in verse 4, thou lovest all devouring words, O thou deceitful tongue. And many times our tongue will put us in a situation, hey, can we all be honest tonight? Many times our tongue outruns our brain. Somebody said mine does. Hey, the Bible says, who can control a tongue? No man. It says a devouring flame. Think about it, man. And you know what, man? And y'all know I'm telling the truth. I'm preaching to the choir. It's Sunday night. I get that. But man, words that we say, we can apologize for them, but you can't remove them. That's swords inside people's heart that can't ever be taken away. And so when David was basically doing an inventory of Doeg, if you will, he said, you a man that loves evil, you a man that the truth ain't in you, you a man that wants to do nothing but destroy, all you do is care about yourself, you You don't give a rip about righteousness, good, or anything else. All you want to do is please yourself, and you'll even go the extra mile to make yourself look like a hero. Y'all ever met any people? That's what he's saying. I mean, you want to look like somebody that you're not. And then be earn one what he deserved. What he deserved. Verse 5. God shall likewise destroy thee forever. Now, in verse 5, he's letting Doeg know this is going to be the consequence of your actions. Because let's be honest about it, church, all right? Many times, and all of us know this to be true, many times we will think that we have gotten away with something, only to find out that God did not forget about it. We will many times think that we have gotten away with something, only to realize, hey, what's the Bible say? Be sure your sin will find you out. So here's Doeg. He's murdered these priests. In the back of his mind, he's thinking, I can do what I want, I can say what I want, and I can get away with whatever I want. The beginning of verse number 5, David is now going to remind him, Doeg, the great judge is not going to be Saul, and it's not going to be me. The great judge is going to be God himself. And so he's now going to begin to let him know what you think that I don't care about, and what you think Saul don't care about, and what you think the people of Nob don't care about may be true. But I got news for you, Doeg. God cares, and he will be the final judge. I got to be honest with you, I'd rather face any man than God. And so in verse number 5, excuse me, here's what he says. God shall likewise, circle that word likewise. What he's doing, he's comparing it to the way he done to the priest. As you took these priests out of their life and took them for no reason, God shall likewise destroy you forever. He shall take you away and pluck you out of your dwelling place and root you out of the land of the living. And then he says Salah, which means what you think about that. That's a pointed statement. So let's digest this. God shall also likewise destroy thee forever. In other words, he's saying, what has happened to these priests, Doeg, will also happen to you. Watch that verse. He shall take you away and pluck you out of your dwelling place. If you take that statement and look at it in the root meaning, what it means is kind of like an old home place or old dwelling that's been tore down and everything's been moved away and it looks as though it wasn't even there to start with. That's really what he says when he says you will be plucked down or removed. What he says is, Doeg, now you are existing and now you are thriving, but I got news for you. The day will come when it will appear as if you never existed. Come on. That's what he's saying. That's the picture scenario here that's taking place. And as I spoke at Mr. Roy's funeral today, I said, you know, it's sad but true. The Bible says one day our remembrance will be forgotten. One day somebody will stroll through the cemetery and nobody ever knew who you and I were. That's a frightening thought, man. But it's real. So he's saying, Doeg, right now, you think you're a mighty man, you think you're a superhero because you killed a bunch of innocent people that couldn't defend themselves. But I got news for you, Doeg. The day's going to come when nobody's ever going to remember you were alive. That kind of gets right down to the root of the matter, don't it? And then he ends verse number 5 by saying, and root you out of the land of the living. In other words, he's saying, Doeg, one day they're going to put you in the ground and people are going to walk across your grave. That's the land of the living. It's kind of like, think about this, and y'all all know it's true. Everybody that's a born-again Christian is ready to go to heaven. All right? You know, we talk about being homesick. We talk about beautiful land. You ever thought about how crazy we are? I mean, we homesick for a place we ain't never been. You know why? That's called faith. But think about this. Are we ready to go? Sure. Are we in a hurry? I'm not. Now, let me tell you why. I'm not afraid of dying. I'm really not. That does not bother me. But I don't want to leave my family. I don't want to leave my wife. I don't want to leave my child. Are y'all with me? And I mean, I told my wife, I said, you can find you another husband, but you ain't going to find no man going to love my daughter like me. It's just the way it is. And so, why y'all look like I'm stupid? All right? Y'all know I'm telling the truth. Hey, God is my witness. The night before I left for Israel, her and I had a long talk about what if I don't come back. You ought to have no conversation, they common sense conversation, all right? And I told her, and she's crying, I'm like, nah, let's not do it, all right? And I love her, she knows that. And I said, listen, if something happens to me and I don't come back, you better not marry some deadhead that's going to move in my house, sleep in my bed, and not love my daughter. All right? You can find you another husband, but you can't find a man that love my daughter like me. That's just real. And so listen, none of us want to leave our family, but the day is coming, land of we're going to leave the land of the living. I mean, we just are. And yeah, our children may be grown, our grandkids may be grown, but Mike Jackson, the day is still coming, we're going to leave the land of the living. I mean, that's just reality. And so David ain't telling Doeg no rock-pounding truth. He's just reminding him the simple truth that you ain't going to live forever. Now that y'all mad, let's move on, all right? Number two, the well-being of David. The well-being of David. Hey, number two, the strengthening of David's friends. The strengthening of David's friends. Verse 6 and 7. The righteous also shall see and fear and shall laugh at him. Verse 7. Lo, this is the man that made not God his strength, but trusted in the abundance of his riches, and strengthened himself in his wickedness. Here's what he just said about Doeg. He said, your problem is this, Doeg. You trust in your gold and not God. You trust in your gold, but you do not trust in God. All right, let's back up a minute. I talked a while ago about a good name. I talked a while ago about your character. Do y'all understand, and some of you even may know people like this, I know some people in life that are rich. I'm talking about wealth. They got everything you could ever imagine. They got a big house, big bank account. I mean, they look like they got the world by the tail. But there's only one problem. They got a bad name. You ever notice it does not matter what you got earthly-wise? If you've got a bad name, you got nothing. That's just reality. And so when you think about his statement here in verse number 6, the righteousness will see and fear and laugh at him. This is the man that made not God his strength. Now stop there. Why would David say that? Let me tell you why. Because David did make God his strength. David did understand. I understand, though, that you can't get away from this with this, but you don't understand it. My strength is not found in any sword or an army or a weapon. My sword is in my strength is in God himself. Watch this verse. But trust in the abundance of his riches and strengthen himself in his wickedness. Think about that statement, strengthen himself in his wickedness. Y'all ever notice in the day in which we live, people that seem to be wealthy and in power can get away with anything? If a man's got enough of money, he can get out of anything. It's sad, but that's the world we live in. And what happens is people that have an abundance of riches, they strengthen themselves. It's almost as if they think, I can do whatever I want. And I know some people, and you know some people, that ought to be in prison today. But because of their money, they're not. It's almost as if they immerse themselves in what they have. And by the way, it proves to be strengthful. And then B, the strengthening of David's faith. So David's friends began to also realize, Doeg, you ain't going to get away with this because you ain't going to live forever. You will one day be dealt with. And then the strengthening of David's faith, verse 8 and 9. But I am like a green olive tree in the house of God. You need to underline that statement, house of God. I trust in the mercy of God forever and ever. Y'all know what that means, church? I just don't trust in His mercy today. I trust in it for all eternity. Watch this, verse 9. I will praise Thee forever because Thou hast done it. And I will wait on Thy name, for it is good before Thy saints. Now, this is just me thinking out loud, okay? I would imagine that David, there's a possibility. If you look at this, look at the wording that he used in verse number 8. I am like a green olive tree. I almost picture David, when I was in Israel, I can almost picture David sitting on the Mount of Olives. And he sees all these olive trees, row after row. And they're hanging as if they're abundantly blessed. And I can almost see David say, you know what? Doeg one day is going to be rooted up, plucked up, done away with. But as for me, I'm going to be like a flourishing, blooming, fruitful, olive tree that's been planted out. You got to watch this or you're going to miss it, all right? What did he say? Planted where? He didn't say he planted in Jerusalem. He didn't say planted at my house. Where did he say church? Planted where? You know what he was saying? When Doeg dies, he will leave the land of the living. But as for me, I'm going to dwell at the Father's house. I will be as an olive tree. You know what that means? Not only am I going to exist forever, but I am going to be blessed forever. And then he goes on in verse 9, I will praise thee forever. Now, how can you do that? Because you got a home you're looking forward to. Watch this. Because I will praise thee because thou hast done it, and I will wait on thy name. And you say, preacher, what does that mean? Well, if you were here for the choir practice tonight, what did you sing? In his name is power. In his name is healing. In his name is salvation. Hey, y'all know it. I ain't got to spend a lot of time talking about this. It don't matter if you're at school or the grocery store or at work. When you mention the name of Jesus, you get people's attention. God's name brings attention. And what he was saying was, I will be blessed, I will live forever, I will praise you. You know why? Because your name is worthy. And he ends it by saying this, for it is good, and stop there, it is good before the saints. Did you get that, Gino? The name Jesus ain't good to the lost man, because it don't mean nothing to him. But to the saint that's been redeemed, now watch this, we got to all be in the box with David to get this, all right? David said, I'm going to live forever, I'm going to be blessed forever, his name is worthy, and I'll praise him because he has done it. What he was saying is, I have a right to honor him and praise him. Why? The end of that verse? Because all of us that are saints understand what he meant. It is good. Lord, your name is good to the saints. When I hear the name of Jesus, it excites me. When you hear the name of Jesus, it excites you. When you hear that, it excites you. But you get a lost man, don't know him. He might hear it, but that name's not joy to him. He's never experienced it. He's never been there. He said, preacher, why? Listen, church. The Bible tells us that his spirit confirms with our spirit that we are his. Amen. A lost man can't have that joy because there's no spirit in him to confirm with the Father. Are y'all with me? So only the redeemed can understand the joy of the name of Jesus. Now, I understand that when we fight battles, we get caught up in struggles, we get caught up in spiritual warfare, I understand that sometimes it seems as though we're struggling, and it's almost as if that name don't have a whole lot of power to it. But when we get on the other side, friend, and get through the trial, we look over our shoulder saying, you know what? I may have been faithless, but he was faithful, therefore I can still praise him. That's just the way it is. I mean, we all got to admit, there's times when I face struggles. But the name Jesus is always what it is. Some people look at it different ways, but the reality is, if you are a born-again Christian, that name means something to you. When you hear it, you pay attention. When somebody says it, you will hear what they got to say. And then the finale, we must be careful not to be a doughy. We must be careful not to be a doughy. You say, preacher, what do you mean by that? I mean, I am never going to go murder a whole bunch of priests for no reason. That's not what I'm getting at. We can be a doughy and not even realize it. We can allow our tongue to run wild, saying things that ought not and be a doughy. We can convince ourselves that, man, I've gotten away with that, when in reality we haven't. If we ain't careful, we can get into a doughy mindset. We can get into a doughy mentality. And we can think, man, I'm somebody, when in reality I'm not. You say, why? Because I don't know about you, but I've noticed sometimes this old thing we call pride, man, it can begin to creep up the ladder real slow. And before you know it, that thing's at the top of the ladder, and you think you're somebody. Don't look at me like I'm crazy. You don't know what I'm talking about. And can I tell you something? When you get to the top of the ladder, there's nowhere to go but down. And that's why the Bible says, now watch this, church. The Bible tells us to humble ourselves. Humble ourselves, Brother John. You will tell you why? You don't like this, but it's going to hurt. If you humble yourself, it'll be painless. If God has to humble you, it'll be painful. Be careful with the ego ladder. And you say, well, preacher, why is that? What I tell you this morning, He believes in us. And because of that, yeah, I might be somebody because I'm redeemed, I'm a child of God. I understand all that. But in reality, when you get right down to it, you know, everything that's bad in me, that's all Jessie Adams. Anything good in me, that's all Jesus Christ. And that's just the way it is. Doeg was a man that was used as a tool that the devil run rampant with and basically annihilated. Doeg in Saul's day and time had a terrible name. And in biblical day and time, it was important to keep a good name. That's what Proverbs talks about. And so, listen, church, be careful with our words, be careful with our actions, and be careful with our attitude. Because when you ruin your name, you got nothing left. And Doeg didn't care. Let's care about who we are. Let's care about what we represent. Because I told you this before. You ought to care what people think about you, because what they think about you is what they think about the church. That's a frightening thought, but that's reality. All right, let's pray. God, what a joy.